So I'm Professor Stephen Morrison. I have the privilege of leading the Sustainable Livestock Systems branch here at AFBI. Again, this stop's more of a recap stop, really summarising what you've seen so far. And again, we're really going to start off at the foundations, and that was really back at Elizabeth's stop. And Elizabeth really went through the challenges, the opportunities, but what is sustainability and to start with? And very much looking at that holistically. So that's looking at the economic aspect, is there profit throughout the supply chain, but also the environment and also the social aspects of sustainability. Elizabeth went through some of the challenges, but very much tried to look at the opportunities that brings forward as well. So again, that was a very good start, really set the base, but also flagged the incredible importance of science and innovation to be able to address these challenges. And that's really what you've been looking through as you went through the stops, and you will when you move further into the focus areas. The first stop was really looking at the foundation, the core of our livestock systems, and that's our soils. The soils are fundamental to any of our farming systems. So really looking there, and Lisa and Suzanne really went through, there's my lunch arriving, which is lovely, went through the importance of really having healthy soils to really allow our nutrients to be used effectively, develop those swards that are productive, but also give us resilience to climate change. And again, when we're looking at those soils, it's not just the chemical aspect, but it's also the physical and the biological aspect. So I think Lisa would have been chatting about some of the worms that we should be looking at in our soils, etc. So again, very much the core of our farming systems. Again, if we get that right, that creates that environmental win, but also that economic win as well. Then we moved through into the grassland team, and they really looked at using grass check to show what some of the volatility we're seeing in our grass growth. And again, we're very much experiencing that even in June. We're not getting the temperatures, the grass growth, maybe not what we expect. But again, they also then used the world-leading models that they've developed over the years to forecast forward, even beyond 2050, to see what's grass growth going to look like at 2100. Again, most of us won't be there probably at that stage, but you never know. But again, at that stage, we can see more grass growth at the shoulders of the season. We can also see a lot more volatility. So what our grassland system is going to need to look like to cope with that change and be resilient to that system. And again, so David and the team, the grassland team, really looked through some of the tools that are available, be them multi-species, be them measurement technologies that we can use now to help build those swards and build that resilience. And again, also touched on the topic of carbon capture in our soils and grasslands. Again, Marco then at the next stop really looked at genetics, and that's very undeniable. The power of genetics is very well proven, very clear. And again, with the explosion of data that's coming from both the food to the fork, or farm to fork side of things, we've got so much data coming in. We've got now genomics coming in strength, and sexing technologies coming in strength. So the power of genetics is colossal in the dairy world. How do we use that effectively? And more the traits and the indexes are bringing in environmentally focused angles to really help with sustainability. So be that EnviroCal indexes, be that looking at health and fertility and longevity, all very much linked through to productivity, very much linking through to sustainability. But again, question I'll leave most people here with is, do you know the genetics of your herd or flock? Have you got targets set? Are you moving in a certain direction? So again, without having that in place, how do you know you're doing a good job? So very much know where you are to set your targets to move in the direction you want to go. Again, targets is a theme that sort of ran through a number of the stops. And again, those targets could be anything from our calf health, calf morbidity, which Gillian touched on, even just the hygiene standards in the rearing accommodation, to the growth standards we're trying to achieve, the milk production we're trying to achieve, and obviously the environmental targets. So we need to know our targets, set them, and monitor against them. Again, Conor then he touched into precision nutrition. Again, started off looking at our phosphorus and the work we've done on phosphorus to reduce the levels in our diets as low as we can go. Again, with no negative effects on productivity. And again, very much looking at sustainable outcomes to protect our waterways, having less phosphorus leaking out of our system. They then also looked at what we could do in reducing our crude protein levels through precision nutrition by still delivering on the energy or metabolizable protein requirements of the animal. We can really still reduce the ammonia emissions coming off our dairy systems. So again, tools we can really adapt and use now. And again, Conrad also touched into dietary methane inhibitors, and you'll see a little bit more of that as you move around in the focus areas. But again, lots of work happening both here in Northern Ireland with AFBI and Queen's, but also globally looking at methane inhibitors and the opportunity that could bring for us as a tool in our toolbox. It's not going to be the silver bullet, but could be a tool in the toolbox to help reduce those emissions. Again, moving into the last stop with Chris and John, really it was twofold. You got a double act there, really. And that was really to look at the sort of slurry and our ammonia emissions in particular, and what technologies we could do now, or practices we could do now to reduce those emissions on our farm. Everything from extending the grazing to slurry management techniques, etc. All, again, adding up to give significant reductions in our ammonia emissions. And again, then Chris really looked at how can we add more value, how can we extract more value out of our slurries. We generate a lot of slurry on our farms, how do we get more value out of that, looking at new ways going forward. So again, hopefully left with a few thoughts in our mind of what we could do in that space. But throughout, you really got the underlying theme that everything's backed by science, science-based evidence and innovation to provide those tools for you in Northern Ireland to develop those sustainable and resilient farm systems going forward. So that's the sort of last main sort of sum up. Hopefully I've summed it up well. If I left anything out, shout at me. Summed it up well, the stops you've had to date, but it's not over. So again, you'll be glad to know, hopefully it'll get warmer, but it's not over. The next stage of the tours are really, you can go at your own pace. You can wander sort of at your own pace through some of the focus areas. Focus areas cover a wide range of topics. So we start off just back behind you here over at the AD plant, slurry separation, slurry emissions, how we manage and control our slurries. Then we move into focus area 2, which you can just about see after you move through the AD plant area. It's all soils, grasslands, swards, variety mixes, virtual grazings in there. There's also plate metering and how you assess your swards, etc. is all in there. And again, focus area 3, we're now into a dairy cow house, looking at some of the nutritional work and some of our young stock management activities and how we even do some of the work. You'll see some of the feed box technology. And then focus area 4 captures quite a lot of areas, so it's health, genetics and management of our livestock. So in there you'll get everything from the animal health team over from our veterinary colleagues, to straightforward nutrition, to tools, apps, technology, models, to quite a breadth of stuff in that stop. In that particular focus area there's tables, chairs, there's catering van, etc. So you can sit down, relax, chat to each other and quiz those researchers and the CAFRE staff that are there as well. Again, it's very much an opportunity to engage with the researchers and the CAFRE guys and get your thoughts across and make them work, ask them tough questions. So again, very much hope you've enjoyed the tour. Again, enjoy the focus areas as we go through. Hopefully there's innovative ideas and some science that you can take back to your farms or spread amongst your farmer colleagues that they can then adapt, bring into their farming system to improve the sustainability and resilience of their farm system. So again,